Do you ever feel like you're in an uphill battle with your energy? Like, no matter what supplements, meal plans, diets, medications, or vitamin shots or self care activities that you do, you seem to wake up more and more exhausted day after day. And what about brain fog? Does it ever feel like your head is floating in a sea of honey, that everything is swirling around you and you just can't keep up? This is, in a nutshell, the essence of living with chronic fatigue and burnout. You try really hard to keep up with everything in life, but that very life seems to just beat you down. One step forward, three steps back. Hi, I'm Dana, founder of the Energy and Hormonal Rebalance System, my proven holistic nutrition solution for busy women battling chronic fatigue and burnout while living a demanding, high paced life. I teach my clients how to uncover the root causes of their fatigue and how to eat, live, and be in a way that supports and restores the health of their energy production system. I've been in what I call chronic fatigue remission for almost 7 years using these same principles, and I love that I have ample energy to get my work finished in record time, do a good workout every single day, take my dog for a long walk after dinner, and stick to and follow through on the many, many ambitious ideas and goals I have for my own life. And this is how I want my clients to live their lives as well. The one thing that I learned in my 15 plus year journey to recover from chronic fatigue was that I had to know what the root causes of my energy problems were in order to fix them. I spent way too much time on the wrong solutions because I stayed focused on just my symptoms and where I thought my energy problems were coming from. Yet nothing was working, and it was extremely confusing and frustrating, not to mention a wee bit depressing too. I mean, I wanted to live the type of life that all of my friends were living, staying super focused at work and at school, finishing big reports on time, getting recognition, expanding their knowledge with more courses, and taking part in a whole bunch of different fun sounding after work activities like classes and workshops and joining like fitness and sports teams. They were volunteering, all that fun stuff. Yet for me, I was barely able to hold it together for a full 8 hours of work. And I see this pattern happening with many of the women with chronic fatigue as well. They dive into a new supplement or a meal plan that promises high energy, hoping for the best, and then they feel defeated when it doesn't magically change their life. Or they end up joining a gym and setting up a workout schedule that looks amazing on paper, but then they feel worse afterwards. They continue to focus on the surface when they need to be focusing on the deeper root level causes of their fatigue. And it's not their fault that they are focused on the wrong thing. They're just steered in so many wrong directions when we end up doing research on the internet and reading books and following fitness gurus and all that. So definitely not your fault if this sounds like you and you are trying all these things and not getting anywhere. Also, there is no such thing as a magic pill, supplement, or medication for chronic fatigue. For those of us with extreme exhaustion, most popular exercise programs will make our fatigue imbalances worse, and we struggle with something called poor exercise recovery. And really, the way to get your energy back to normal levels is pretty simple. It's know those root causes so that you can focus on the right problems. So think about it. If your car stopped running one day, you went out to turn it on, and nothing happened, you'd probably maybe tinker for a few minutes if you're like me, but then take it to a mechanic to find out what's wrong and get that problem fixed so you can use it again, right? Except if we kind of use this analogy with our health, that's not what a lot of women with chronic fatigue do. Instead, they equivalently replace the light bulbs to see if that helps, or they put more gas in the tank. Maybe it ran out of gas, or they change the oil perhaps, or maybe some of them go, a little bit deeper and go so far as to replace belts or alternators or something. But when it really you take it to the mechanic and they look at it and they find out that the root cause was a poor starter. The starter died. Or maybe it was the engine itself. The point is, if you don't know what the problem is that you're trying to fix, you very, very often keep yourself stuck feeling exhausted and frustrated with the wrong solutions. Which is why, in my own experience and my expertise, it is so important to ask for help when you're struggling. To enlist an expert with the knowledge and qualifications to help identify the real problems you're battling so that you can get on the right track to higher energy so much faster. And if you're like me, you probably want to recover your energy pretty quickly, right? So, if you're battling chronic fatigue despite trying meal plans, fad diets, supplements, vitamin shots, yoga, exercise, medications, maybe, or even meditation, then you've been missing out on solutions that touch on the root causes. And I'll tell you a little secret. When you Google how to boost energy and or recover from chronic fatigue, the information that pops up on the first few pages is either completely wrong or it's actually dangerous to your health. Or it's so high level or surface level that it will not help you regain the energy like you wanted to. So you end up wasting time and money, and we don't want that. So, are you ready to stop wasting time and precious energy on the wrong things? Yeah, I know you are. So here's where to begin your journey to chronic fatigue recovery. Like I said, you have to identify the root causes. This is number one. We can't skip this step. There are actually over a dozen, almost 20 different causes of chronic fatigue. So you could spend decades trying to figure out which one is the problem. But I've done that work for you and figured out that there is a very cool link between these that all point back to three main root causes. And every woman I've spoken to with about chronic fatigue, about their symptoms, has at least two of these root causes that, when they're rebalanced, create a cascading effects to the others, rebalancing them too. So when we address the two main underlying root causes of chronic fatigue and burnout, it's like those champagne pyramids where you just fill the very top one and all the rest get filled up as well. Super simple, super efficient, right? So there's that cascading effect. When we touch on and address the root causes, other imbalances start to naturally just improve as well. So our very first stop in our journey to regaining our energy is to address the two underlying root causes: a maladaptive stress response and chronic low-grade inflammation. I won't go into how a maladaptive stress response is created today. I'll save that for another video. But for now, just know that over time, your adrenals get worn out from dealing with your personal stress load and they begin misfiring. They can no longer adapt to the stress in a healthy way. So together, this maladaptive stress response and inflammation tell your energy production system, which is your mitochondria, to stop producing energy. They actually tell your mitochondria that your body's in trouble, and they flip over to a state that's known as cell defense mode. When your mitochondria are in cell defense mode, they just can't make energy for you. It's impossible. And a maladaptive stress response triggers more inflammation, and inflammation adds to your stress load, making your stress response even more maladaptive. This is the stress inflammation cycle. And breaking this is the very, very first step in recovery from chronic fatigue and burnout. To do this, we have to remove as many triggers to both of these as we can control. And this is the biggest misstep in the surface level solutions. None of them remove the triggers, or if they do remove the triggers, it's only on either stress or inflammation, not on both. So remember, we have to take both into account because they feed into each other. Now, removing the triggers is awesome, but we have to do another thing in conjunction with this, and that is, of course, to replace those triggers, replace the stimuli, replace whatever we're taking away with something better, something that supports energy production. So here's how we break this cycle and finally begin to feel a shift in our energy each day. So first, we remove the most common pro-inflammatory foods so that your diet doesn't trigger more inflammation. Diet after stress is the most common reason for chronic low-grade inflammation. So we take away the obvious culprits like fried foods, conventional baked goods, processed foods, and of course, junk food. But we also remove vegetable oils, sugar, which is both refined and artificial, gluten, and dairy. This is the start. Of course, depending on your personal inflammation status, how well your digestive system is functioning, if you have any other food intolerances, we could go further and remove all grains, pork, red meat, nightshades, citrus, and there's other foods depending on the person. Everyone's different. But when I work with my clients, we do start with the most common trigger foods first to make sure we're really starting with a good baseline into how well your body responds to just these foods being gone. We can make things too difficult for ourselves if we take out too many things at the same time. These are also the most well-known, most problematic inflammatory foods. Then second, we need to make sure we replace these foods with highly anti-inflammatory ones. So that means good quality extra virgin olive oil, avocados, raw nuts and seeds, and other healthy fats. We want lots of antioxidants as well to neutralize free radicals that are caused by inflammation and stress. So that means we have to boost up the intake of fresh fruits and vegetables. Bone broth is another nice addition, especially if there's any digestive inflammation happening. Then third, we boost your intake of very specific foods to help replenish your energy deficit caused by the chronic stress. So when your stress load is high and your body's in that maladaptive stress response state, your body's going to use up a lot of specific nutrients, and most women aren't replenishing these properly. And in fact, most of the fad diets and the supplement recommendations that are found when you do a Google search for recovering from energy will make these deficiencies worse, which then causes more fatigue. We don't want that. So important nutrients are the whole complex of B vitamins, not just B12, but a B complex. Vitamin A, vitamin C, lots of this one, vitamin K2 in combination with vitamin D3, they work best together. You can also get D3 from the sun, but if you are taking a supplement, D3 plus K2. We also need essential fatty acids or omega-3, zinc, magnesium, and surprisingly maybe sodium, which we can get from salt, adding salt to water and food. And all of this, the most important nutrients needed to break the stress inflammation cycle and to start to regain your energy and to clear away the brain fog, are best when you get them from real whole foods. Now, D is tough to get from food, so vitamin D, I do recommend a supplement for that. We need a variety of foods too. That's really key here because the nutrients in our food are so much better absorbed and used by the body than when we try to get them from supplements. So nutrients need what's known as cofactors, other nutrients, that each food tends to have the conglomerate of nutrient and cofactors to help the body absorb it and use it. Whereas a supplement that might be just the nutrient, there's no cofactor involved, and it might often, especially poor quality supplements, just get flushed right through and are a waste of money. This is the wonderful thing about food. I love food. It's amazing. It tastes delicious and it's so functional and healthy and boosts your health and makes you feel so much better. All the food has exactly what you need to be a healthy, energized person. So once again, it is so important that we break the stress inflammation cycle. If we want to get back all day energy, have fewer energy crashes, and just get back to living an active, full life, and doing the things we love. So, if you're ready to take the next step and enlist the help of an expert to guide you, um, then use the link below to book an energy audit call with me. This is my way of offering you the equivalent of a free coaching call by giving you an insight into the world of working with me, my philosophy, my expertise, my system that has helped many dozens of women overcome fatigue. And it helps you get a chance to share your story. It's a 45-minute call. We're going to go through whatever is bothering you, your symptoms, your history, things you've tried, and then I will help give you insight into where the gaps are, what track you should be on, what your symptoms are telling you, what they're telling me, so I can tell you. And then we'll just really go and dig deep into what's going on with your energy journey and make sure that you are actually doing things, choosing foods, the right supplements, activities that are going to help you get to your higher energy goals